I'll take those over that. So,
Give me just a second. I think there's something funny with the owl. So just give me 1 second. It would help if I turned the owl on. That was the issue.
yes,
Like it was not turned on.
Sounds like
mine is.
Here, nope.
Wow. Okay, it looks like everyone is here except for Teresa, but I will call the meeting to order. And welcome everybody again to our October meeting. And Jandy, could you tell me if there are any citizens online today?
I don't have any citizens online for public comment, and I didn't receive any via email written comments.
All right, thank you. Is our mayor joining us today? Is she zoomed in?
I don't have her zoomed in at this point now.
Okay. And I see Mark is here. Nice to see you, Mark. It's the first time I get to officially welcome you to our meetings and things of that nature. Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here. Yeah, great. Do I have a motion to approve the meetings from our last gathering? Everybody have a chance to review those? Yep. I did.
I didn't get those. I didn't get an email with the agenda or.
We might have to check your email because Teresa sent them out the day after our last meeting.
Oh, I did get those a long time ago. That's
Okay.
why I didn't see them. So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, so those were
Okay, I
the
did read
meeting
through them.
minutes, yeah.
I read through them.
And then Jandy sent out the agenda
Yeah.
last week, I think on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, and I see
Good.
Tim, Brad, Teresa, Kimberly.
Okay,
me,
that's me.
Yeah. So we might want to double check
It
if
was
you're
to
not
the-
getting those.
Yeah, it
Right.
was to the Liberty Lake.
Yeah, it's the first time.
And it should be through the city email that you
Yeah, right,
received that.
Right.
Right, I saw him. I moved to approve the September meeting minutes.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Do I have a second?
I don't think I can because I wasn't there.
If you read them
I read it in second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of approving those minutes?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. They are approved. And before we get started with the rest of the agenda, I would like to bring up an email I received last night from DG. Did everyone on the panel, I think she sent it to everyone, but did everyone receive that email?
I did.
Okay, I would like to add it to, if it's acceptable to the group, I'd like to add it to our new business at the bottom of our agenda to kind of address the email that was sent. I can read it if you haven't received it. I didn't have time to send it out to everybody. I was coaching on the side. I'm coaching a middle school football game. So, but I might be able to forward it to, well, I'll try, I don't know, but I can read it at least anyway. I'll give you the Tim, can you got the email? Did you?
Yeah, I did. You want me to read it?
Yes, if you would read it, please, and then we can decide if it's appropriate to add it to our agenda or not, and then we can approve the agenda going forward.
Am I reading DG's email or the email she's forwarded to us?
Oh, I think you should probably read hers, and
Okay.
Then we can address the one that she sent.
Okay. It starts off with the email from DG starts off, "Hello all, I know you all know what's happening on the library front. Well, at least I hope so, smile. I received the attached email below. I wonder if you had as well. I have questions, but no concrete answers and look for more details. My concern is in reference to the message below regarding the library's relationship with Spokane County versus Idaho Library Compact. Would you be so kind as to shed more information on the issues included? What is or what is not? I am very interested in learning more, and I have confidence that many of my questions can be answered here. Thank you for your time and attention. DG Garcia, signed as a Friends of the Liberty Like Municipal Library member." The email that she received, that she forwarded, is dated October 11th. There's no person attached to the email she sent. There's no email address from where it's coming from. It just says, "An issue of particular importance has recently come to my attention. The Liberty Lake Library has apparently chosen to separate itself from the other Spokane area libraries in favor of a network of predominantly Idaho organizations. And anytime this action would be questionable at best. In these times, it stands as a divisive, if not mildly seditious action. It also specifically disenfranchises almost all of the children of Greater Spokane. Liberty Lake owes allegiance first to the state of Washington and then the county of Spokane. That is the American way, in addition to being the most efficient and accountable governmental arrangement. I strongly support an immediate review of this decision and a reversal by the city of Liberty Lake to rejoin the city greater metropolitan area to which they owe their existence." It's signed, "Thanks." That's it.
I can definitely shed light on that if we want to add it to the agenda, or if you
Okay,
want the
well,
answer now.
No, I'd rather add it to the agenda, address it at the end. So that's basically.
Let me just, Rick,
Definitely
Brad, just-
misinformation.
Brad, just for the record, I think it's important to mention that who this email was forwarded to. It was only forwarded to myself, you, Teresa, and DG.
Right, so it was not forwarded to our library director.
Correct. I just want to make sure we're all aware of that, so she's not, caught flat-footed here.
Right, exactly. So I would like to ask the board's permission by a vote to add this to our agenda at the under new business today, if that's possible.
I move that we do that. Yeah.
Okay, everybody approve of adding that to our agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it on our agenda.
So I'm just trying to think of what to, because I need a little subject line to call that. I'm just trying to think of boundaries of our library, maybe?
I would call it,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's, a letter, questioning our network, our library network association.
And can you, since you have that email open, can you forward it to the other board members?
I think we can have Tim do it since he's on his computer.
I'm happy to do it. I don't think there's any, there's no secrets here or anything. So let me, figure out, I'll do that right now.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
I don't think our names are on the city website yet.
So I think that's probably why, I don't
Maybe why we
think,
didn't
which I
do
need to
that.
get that taken care of. I need to talk to Todd or whoever put the stuff up there.
I can look into it
Okay,
because I have access to the whole
thank you.
website. That's
The only
probably-
person, the only people I'm adding on to I'm forwarding this to Shauna and to Kimberly. I think everybody else is included. I guess I'm gonna send it to Jandy too. There's no reason Jandy can't have it.
I don't think, Jandy, did you, I didn't see you as on the.
She wasn't.
Okay,
So those three people I just forwarded to.
Great.
thank you, Tim. All right, so, having done that, we can move on to our next, topic. And I have to say that I have been called out for not running fun meetings. For the people that are part of the Friends of the Library and sitting on my wife's meetings, you know that I am very different. She's very different. Hers are very fun, but I can't measure up. I'm sorry. That's just for the record. Jenny, we don't have any public comments, okay?
No, none were received.
Okay, our mayor is not here to fill us in on anything today, but our city administrator is here, so I would like to recognize Mark at this time for any comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I don't know that I have a terribly detailed report to offer. Really just an update. If any of you were tuned in last night, we had a special council meeting to go over some pretty high level budget concepts, which is kind of an introduction into the budget submission and review process, which ultimately will end with council adopting a budget for fiscal year 2023, which obviously includes funding and appropriations for the municipal library. So stay tuned as that process unfolds and see what it results in. The other thing is we are, as you know, the new owners of the property over on Mission, which I think ultimately the plan is to use that for some type of municipal facility, possibly a new location for the library. So those things are unfolding behind the scenes as well. More information on that as it becomes available, but that sale has closed, so the city is the owner of that piece of property.
Great.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You used one word there that kind of, I'd like to clarify. You said possibly library usage. Is there some discussion about whether that would or would not happen? My assumption was, and that building was purchased for the library to move into.
That's correct. Yes. So the intention is that it will become the new site of the library. And that's what all effort is being directed toward.
Okay,
That's correct.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. Okay, moving on. Kim,
So the Friends of the Library book sale is happening November 18th and 19th at the library. We are in need of more children's books for that sale. And they are also going to include puzzle sales, because apparently that's a big hot ticket item. So if you have used puzzles you'd like to donate to the Friends of the Library, they will use them to raise funds for the library. They'll sell them. They're putting together their Valentine's basket fundraiser. They will have a completely online auction in February. And they're putting together their nominating committee for next year. Kind of quiet, except for the book sale, this is kind of the lull between seasons.
The only thing I would add is I got an email from the treasurer of the Friends today And I'm gonna be meeting with them next week to go over the library's budget asks for the Friends next
Okay.
year. So I give them a list of what we'd like to use our money for next year.
Right, so I knew they were forming that committee, but.
Yeah, so they have formed it and I'm gonna be with them next week on Thursday.
Cool. Fast and efficient.
Yeah, they are a valuable asset
Yes.
to our library there without question. All right, so moving on, Tim. Anything of significance you want to tell us from the city council meeting? Are you there? Can you hear me, Tim?
Oh, I can.
Sorry, that mute button. Okay, I'm back.
There he is.
I just want to mention that most of the conversation, I missed the last meeting, but I can, the special meetings, I just got back into town this morning. But all the discussion these days is about the budget, and that's all they're arguing about, and they're passing and approving expenses that have already been approved, but now they're doing the actual check writing for things like the trailhead golf course and stuff. So I don't have much of an update there, just 'cause it's all been relatively boring budget discussions.
Yeah, those meetings leading up to budget approval and stuff,
They're necessary, they're wonderful, but they're dry.
they're laborious. All right, thanks, Tim. All right, Jandy, you're on.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly share my screen.
I saw you sent out your statistics report this morning.
Yes, so that's what I'm gonna go over first. Okay, so I have our statistics updates for the month. If you can remember last month with our checkouts and check-ins, we were near 9,000. So we are seeing our expected drop now that school's back in session in September is upon us. The numbers are similar to what they were last year in the high 6,000s, but we each year do have a drop in checkouts at the beginning of September. Things start to pick up again a little bit in October. The other thing I wanted to point out, let's see. If you notice though, check-ins are a lot higher than check-outs. We have 6,991 check-outs versus 7,705 check-ins. Spring cleaning and what we call fall cleaning, we always get a lot more books back in September. So, yes, it's one of those things like everyone's purging their house. It's time to go back to school. Get everything in order. We are having a lot more computer sessions this year than we were last year. We're up to 150 versus 88 last year. We have installed all new computers in the library. I don't think I've mentioned that to you guys.
So what does it mean when you say computer session? Is that an individual on?
Yes. So we've had 150 individual sessions. It doesn't distinguish if it's the same person because we do have people that come in almost every day. But that's total for the month is 150. Over since January, we have replaced every single one of our patron computers. We have new big white HPs that kind of look like Mac computers. They're very pretty. We've also replaced all of our main staff computers, the ones that we do checkout, check-in, and fines on. Not all of my staff's personal like computers in their office, but all of our main computers that we use for the public have all been replaced this year. So we had enough money in our budget to cover it. It's just one of those things where you always, one dies and then the rest dies. So that's something that we've been doing this year as well. I think I mentioned to you guys last month that our study room is completed and finished.
Looks
So
great.
This last week, Todd went in and updated access ports at the library. This is for our Wi-Fi. And so it was perfect timing because we finished that study room And then the Wi-Fi in that room was like not very good at all. And I was like, that is the purpose of this room, is to be a study room for people to be able to come in and work on their laptop. And it worked out great because it was on the schedule for Todd to come in and upgrade everything this last week, so on Thursday. So we now have our fast Wi-Fi streaming through the library again. They did it in this room as well. So that's been wonderful. I have gotten 3 or 4 requests for a study room already, so I'm pleased about that. Because we just announced it to the public in our newsletter on the 1st. And now that I'm talking, I'm like, I haven't done an individual post on our Facebook page about it. It went out in our newsletter to everyone, but I'm gonna do that this week, put up like a photo and an announcement on our Facebook page and the city Facebook page. But I do think that room's gonna get a lot of great use. The other thing I wanted to mention is we have, prior to COVID, we were doing outreach story times where we go to some of the daycare centers and preschools in the area. We did not do that in 2020 or 2021 last year for the school years. It's something we started up again this year. And so we're doing all the same schools that we used to do. So we're doing the Stepping Stone, I don't know if it's called school or daycare. It's right across the street from the library. We do 3 sessions for them a month. So every Friday we go in, the first 3 Fridays of the month, and do story time with them. And then we also do the local Liberty Lake Children's Academy. We do 4 sessions with them. So me and Erin, the children's associate, are splitting those. So we're each doing 2 of those. So we go once a week and do story time with them as well.
So that number up there, does that mean the number of children that you have read to that are at those?
Yes, so for story time, that's how many, and then for outreach story time, that's how many kids.
That's,
So it's a significant amount of kids.
yeah, that is very cool. I
Yeah.
think that's really a neat thing that our library does.
And introducing kids to the library through that.
Yes, and with the preschool Liberty Lake Children's Academy, they will come to us in the spring for a field trip. So they do that as well. Let's see, I think that's everything I wanted to point out on our statistics for this month. We did also go to Hubapalooza, which we've never gone to before, at the local Liberty Lake Hub. Both of my librarians went to that and put on a Lego time. So that was really great. We also last month had our Vietnam Memorial Book Display. We have multiple displays throughout the library in each section. So we have an adult display, teen display, and a juvenile display. So we did a display in honor of the Vietnam Wall coming to Liberty Lake, and then we also did a banned books week one where we had displays in each of those sections of the library with books that were appropriate to that age. And we got some really good comments from patrons about participating in banned books week this year. So that was really positive. Some of my staff was a little nervous about it, so it went really well. And I think that's everything I have. Yes, one last thing. We have 2 presenters coming in this next month. We have a guitar technique workshop. So we have a local gentleman who teaches guitar classes. He came and did one for us in 2019. He just showed up at my office like a couple weeks ago and was like, hey, can I do another one? And he's offering it for free. So that's wonderful. So they've opened it up to all ages. So it will be for adults, teens, and kids. They just want the youngest kids accompanied with an adult if they choose to come. But that's going to be a 4-week class. We also have a local, I want to say she does jujitsu, a jujitsu instructor who's coming to do a teen self-defense class. We're really excited about that. And then she's offering the opportunity for the teens to come to her studio for some sessions for free as well if they want to try it out. So that's really great. And then I am hosting this month a STEM class. It's Bloxels Build Your Own Video Game. So the kids get to build stuff with blocks and then build stuff on an app to create a video game. So yeah, that's what we're doing this month at the library.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I think our library the program that we provide for all different age groups in our community is fantastic. I don't know what other libraries do with their programming, but our programming is pretty cool. I love seeing them pop up on Facebook page and that kind of stuff. And it's great.
And I think I mentioned this to you, my daughter's enrolled in the guitar workshop.
Yes, I'm so glad. Yeah,
Yeah, do you have to have your own guitar?
yes, you do have to bring a guitar. Maybe someday in our library of things, people will be able to check out guitars
That would be very cool.
for the class.
That would be very cool. Thanks, Jandy.
I have a quick question for Jenny before we move on. Jenny, is there a chance you could give us an update on the laptop usage and the hotspot update? How is that going? And can we add that maybe to as a line item to this to see how our new program's working?
I was gonna say, I don't have the statistics for that, but I think that's something that we should be tracking. So I'm gonna add that to my list.
Awesome.
I do know, like I said last month, we're gonna be asking for more money from the council this year to purchase more hotspots. But yeah, I should track what our usage is. I know none of the hotspots are ever there, but I'm curious, you know, how many checkouts they're getting, and then also for the laptops.
How many more hotspots are you looking for, do you think? From your budget
I want
discussion?
to say we have 6, and I was gonna double it to 12.
Okay. The other
5, and we were gonna double it to 10, but I'm thinking it's 6 to 12.
I forgot to mention to you, I was supposed to call you and mention this to you before our meeting, but I'd like to bring it up now. The memorial wall that came to visit Liberty Lake left some items behind that the Gallant Guards of Liberty have possession of. It was suggested, and I think it's a good idea, that we should consider when we get a new library to have a section of the library on the historical items that belong to the city or that have occurred in the city. It'd be nice to have an area that people can see, whether it's the old photos of the places on the lake or other things that may tie back to people that were lost in wars that are from the city, things like that, that we could be able to put a bunch of that. We could maybe even get items donated from the community of some of the older members that have been here for a long period of time. But it's kind of a neat idea to have that maybe as some artwork or a dedicated space when we start talking about the new library. So if you could make note of that, I'd appreciate it. And I think it's a good idea. And I know that we're not gonna have the storm right now, because I know that storage is on the a little difficult these days, but they're gonna hold on to where we can start planning for that.
Yeah,
And I don't know if I
that's
should
something-
put that as,
I was just at the Spokane Public Library 2 weeks ago, and they, on one of their floors, they have, you know, their Northwest room that has all of their local Spokane history. But they had outside of that display cases where they were displaying things like that from local history of Spokane.
I think it'd be something that we should consider maybe.
That's a great.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, sort of historical archives.
I'm sorry, that's all I had. I didn't know where I was supposed to bring that up, but I just started, since I had the floor, I just kept talking.
Yeah, sure.
That's perfect.
Why not? Okay, so, Jandy, you're still on. Our next topic is a library project update. I'm not quite sure. I remember what the project, what that referred to.
I just had some updates that I wanted to share with you. I went to the director retreats for all the directors in Washington State. So this year it was in Spokane at the new downtown Spokane Library. And I got to speak with Andrew Chance, who is the director of the Spokane Public Library. And as you know, they're doing a lot of remodeling. They just opened up their new central library. I got a chance to talk to him and to Patrick, who is the director at Spokane County Library District. Something Patrick shared with me was that they have used multiple funding sources with coming up with enough funds to build all of their new library projects. And he said he was going to sit down with me, Mark, the mayor, whomever, to discuss the different ways that they went about funding their project. He said they ended up having 7 different funding sources. So it wasn't just the county's money, and it wasn't just the State Department of Commerce grants. They had some other funding sources. So he shared he would be willing to sit down with us and give some ideas.
Great.
So I thought that was really great. Andrew is, Andrew shared that they had applied for the State Department's Commerce grants and they were able to get $2 million to help fund their project. So he mentioned that he'd be happy to look over our application and give any feedback to help us be a good candidate. Something that he pointed out to me that I thought would be valuable to point out to the council is that these projects are looking for innovation as part of the design. They aren't just looking for creating the same library that you had before. And so we definitely, I mean, I don't think that was in any of our minds, but we definitely want to think of making this a library of the future and having a really great story to tell, explaining in our grant application, this is what we have now, this is where we're hoping to go with the project. It's just one of those things where he kind of pointed out, if your council is really trying to pinch their pennies and just make the same library in a bigger footprint, you aren't going to be a good candidate. So it's something where we really want to be able to tell a story to the council of how we're going to improve and make this a better library for our community, and not just keep things the same as they were before, even if that's a little bit more cost effective.
As it should not be.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Because our community's changed, the way we access information has changed. So our library has to stay up with that, and any innovation that goes along with it, I think would be a great thing to inform our council about, but also being written into the grant so that we are appealing to the state for grant.
Yes, we want to hit all the other boxes since we can't hit that we're rural or a distressed community. So you just said you got to really check all the other boxes.
But yeah, if you look at what other libraries are doing, they're becoming community spaces, not just the
Book warehouse.
book warehouse. They have maker spaces. They have a library of things where whether it's tools or baking things or guitars, puzzles, you know, it's a library of things and making it a more community, having the study room just created and being able to show, oh, and we're doing the computers and the computer usage is up and we want to increase that, and just becoming, like you said, that library of tomorrow, stuff we're already doing, but we'll be able to do better with a bigger space.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jandy. That's really, that information and making that connection is going to be invaluable as we move forward and get closer to trying to acquire funds to remodel that building for our space. I think that'll be pretty nice. All right, so we are on to new business, and we need to talk about our report to the city council. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we need to have someone agree to sit down with Jandy and outline what our report should look like and address the new policy, because that's basically what that part of the agenda on the city council will be looking for, but also some other things that have gone on with the library in terms of our discussions over the last 3 or 4 months. So comments.
The topics I thought we should hit are kind of what I went over last month with you with our summer reading and how high our statistics were this summer, pointing that out, talking to them about our new study room, because that's a new thing that we are offering to our community and also was a part of our community assessment that we've now accomplished, and then an update on the library policy. So you guys might have other ideas, but those were the main 3 things I thought we should hit for the report. It's on October 18th, so I think it's next Tuesday. Yes.
Yeah. And the reason
What?
Sorry, can you get those 3 points again, please? I want to write those down.
So our statistics from the summer and our summer reading program, then the library study room, and then the library policy update.
I'm sorry, you cut out on the last one, technology is on your side.
The library collection development policy update.
Okay. In our statistics, I like to bring in the laptops again, since we funded all that stuff, okay?
Yeah, so I can definitely get those back,
Yeah.
by tomorrow at the latest.
Kid, did you say add statistics to that?
The laptop.
Oh, the laptop and hotspot.
Laptop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Since those are pretty recent things that they've approved and we've asked for, we can show how it's being used. I think they need to see the utilization.
Yes, I think that'd be very valuable, especially since in the budget discussion, I'm gonna be asking them for more. So yes, that would be great.
Well, I would also add to that I think any statistic that reinforces how many of our patrons use the library would be an important thing to share with the council. The number of visits over the summertime, I don't think
Yes.
we've given them that. Have you given them that information?
So they have received it in their reports, but it's in staff with everyone else's reports, so you never know what's going on. So yeah,
Right.
I was thinking, our checkouts over the summer,
Yeah.
our attendance, our visits.
Yep.
Coming in the door
Yep.
in the summer, and then our attendance at programs over the summer,
Right,
the laptops and the hotspots, like Tim just suggested.
right.
Those would be my main statistics I've been wanting to hit.
I think that.
I don't want to make it too many numbers, but I think those are the most valuable. the first
I would agree. I mean, you can't overwhelm them with numbers, but any number that re-emphasizes how much our library is appreciated and used by our patrons, I think is really valuable.
Can we do a quick, go, Brad, when you're done, I got a question. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do we do any quick reference to any utilization of the library on some of the topics that came up from our, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole much, but on how we've improved things since the community assessment, saying that, our, 2021 to 2022, our utilization for checkouts and stuff is up 20%. Just looking at Janny's totals there, versus, you look at stuff before and because of the programs that we've been able to provide, or the redoing the stacks and going through all the different collections we have, that it's being utilized a lot more. Is there any way to make a reference to that, or should we just leave that alone and not go down that rabbit hole? Or do you even know what I'm talking about? I mean, I want to give Janny the credit.
It's one of those things where I feel like it's a little tricky because we got the feedback in December 2019 officially. Then March 2020 was COVID, so 2020, 2021 we've been down. This would be our first year where I feel like we could actually start testing that. And I mean, we're in October, so it's like I don't know that we have a big enough.
Well, I think
Like,
that's
thank you.
cool.
Big
Like,
enough
just say, hey,
sample.
look at the numbers. Do we just take credit for it all and just say, because of what you learned from that look at how well things are going, and you just give them the numbers from 21 to 22. Just take the credit that it's because of what you've done.
You also, I don't know on the survey that was done in 2019. Can we show from that, like you said, that study room was one of the things that was requested, and then that's.
Yep.
And,
Exactly.
and this was also requested, and we've been able to do that. And, numbers went down over COVID because library was shut down, but we were able to pivot, and we, did curbside pickup, and we did these, our online statistics definitely increased. And
You had to beef up the teen programs. You had to beef up the adult programs. Those are all showing huge numbers now. Your 21 to 22 numbers are enormous on a percentage basis.
this
I don't
is
think
just
there's
a monthly report though, right? This isn't.
No, this is not a monthly report.
Yeah.
This is a report to the council
We're supposed to get one each quarter.
Yeah,
This is our quarter.
yeah, once each quarter, so it's
The
really
last
a
time-
quarterly report. So the last time we did it was when I gave that presentation
Community.
on the community assessment, which was back in March. So, this will be another kind of an update between that time and now. Anything over the summer, the new study, and I think anything that we have, improved upon as a result of the, community assessment would be a good thing to add. But I can't be there on time on Tuesday, the 18th. I'll come in a little bit late. I'd like it if everybody could be there to support Jandy. Actually, I think it would be better if we had someone that could stand up for the board and give the report, and then ask for Jandy to stand in and tell us certain things during the report. You know what I'm saying? So it would be up there, someone would tell them what's been going on, and then say Jandy has some additional information to share about summer and some things. Just so it's coming from us. And of course, Jandy is the driving force behind all of it. But I think that this would be a good approach for the board. I don't know, that's my opinion, but I'm willing to, whatever the board decides is good. I just can't be the one that does it this time, for them to be a little bit late.
I'll be there. I'll be there if you guys want to do that. I'm happy to speak, and then whatever you guys want me to do, just feed me the information. I'll blab it out there.
Yeah, I'll be there. Okay, I'm out of town. I leave Saturday for 3 weeks, so I won't be able to make that. Sadly, we would like to be there.
Okay, so Tim, can you meet Janny? I'm talking for you, that you tell me, you say, hey, no, I don't want to do that, and that but that's all right. I'm just kind of throwing out ideas, but either Shauna or Tim, if they can meet with you and kind of outline what that report's going to look like, I think that would be a good thing going in, so we don't stumble over things and we're moving right along and they get what they need.
No, I'll need it the day before. Whatever you want to say, just give it to me on Monday. I'll rehearse it and say it. It's fine.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll make some stuff up and send it to you by Friday.
Okay.
And I'll come and probably see you Monday. I'll probably touch base with you on Monday.
I just guess, Mark, maybe you can clarify this. If we're doing this as a commission report, does the council ask questions about commission reports?
So typically, in any kind of report situation, you would have the flexibility to ask questions. So I would
Yes.
expect to
That
have
they-
questions asked, yes.
Okay,
But they're not voting on anything.
no, no,
As the outcome of a report, they're just possibly asking questions
yes,
about content.
yes.
So,
I just anticipate that we might have some questions about any of it, but also that we may have questions about the collection development update policy. I don't plan to get into every single detail of the policy or the presentation, just the high level things. It's just one of those things where I feel like they are probably gonna have a question, why didn't you restrict access to minors? We had asked that that be done. And so, I'm gonna be prepared for those questions, and I just want the board to be prepared for those questions as well.
Right.
And I anticipate it'll be one of those things where it's like, if it's about the First Amendment rights, I might be like, Shauna, could you give a little bit of elaboration on that?
sure.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
And these are also public meetings. So, I mean, there's been nobody listening to our meetings from the public. I mean,
mhm.
So-
Yeah,
Right, these are public and people could have weighed in at any time during our discourse.
6 months.
Over the
Yeah.
last 6 months discussing that policy. Correct, so, but, we will be assured.
We'll be there.
that There will be questions about that policy when the time arises.
Yeah.
So, so I will be there a little bit late, hopefully I'm there by the time it starts, but I'll be again on the sideline. Finishing up my last game, with the middle school. And then, so good, that's good. Thanks, Tim, for being part of that and helping and being willing to speak in front of with the
Council.
Council. Thank you.
They're all really nice people. They don't bite.
It takes me a while sometimes to get the word out of my mouth. Sorry, Tim.
They're all nice people. They don't bite too bad. They nibble a little bit.
Oh, no, I get it. Yeah, I know. I'm not throwing stones at anything or anyone, just that.
Nor am I suggesting you are.
It is a, it
It
is
can be
a,
nerve-wracking at times.
it's a policy that, you know, is going to warrant some discussion from the council, I'm sure. Okay, so I think we're ready to go with that. And then the policy update for the meeting room. Jan, you wanted to share that?
Yes, let me share my screen and then I have a paper copy for you guys as well. So we just have to do a few updates to our library meeting room policy because when this policy was created, we only had one meeting room. And now our study room is available for the patrons to use as well. So we needed to make a few modifications to it. So the purpose of the meeting room is to ensure that the Liberty Lake Municipal Library provides access to its public meeting rooms in an equitable manner to not-for-profit community serving organizations. The meeting room is available free of charge. All meetings held in the room must be free. Priorities are given to in the following order: library and city-sponsored activities, first priority; library board of trustees and friends of the Liberty Lake Library activities, second priority; Liberty Lake community serving organizations like homeowners, community workshops, etc. So I've added the study room now. So the study room is available to reserve for the following: individual study sessions, group study sessions of up to 8 individuals, small meetings, Zoom interviews / online interviews. And then I've added, if there are no reservations, the room is available for use without a reservation. So some of the questions I had for you guys are, I put group study sessions of up to 8 individuals because that's how many people can sit at the table. But I didn't know if we wanted to make it a little bit larger or just keep it at 8 because that's how many people can sit at the table type thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with 8.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
And I think probably you might want to stay with the 8.
Yeah, I guess I
I would
just have
too.
a bunch of people showing up thinking everyone can sit around the table and they're not able to.
Right.
Yeah, but you also pick small meetings. We should probably say it's up to 8 individuals for that also.
That was my question is you can, so we have the room, you've all seen it, it can sit 8 people around the table and then there's a TV screen. There is space in the room where I feel like if you just sat up chairs for like a presentation, you could fit more than 8. So that's one of the things I had a question about and I wanted to get you guys' feedback on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I would make them agree, either small group study sessions
Mhm.
or small meetings of up to 8 individuals. I think if there is room, if you throw an extra chair in, it's a study group going to say, oh no, there's 9 of us. We can't
Yeah.
do it. I would just leave it as small
Mhm.
and leave it to like, okay, you've got 20 people in here, that's too big.
Could you put something in there where you say meetings up to 8, anything over 8 should be either cleared or discussed with you prior to making reservations?
Yes.
So that someone could say, I have 9, is it all right? Or I have 10 or 11, is there room for, 5 more? And they could ask you that question and then you could say, yeah, we can accommodate that. So that you would have the final say on how many people actually that room can accommodate.
I think that's great. I
And then-
think keeping it to small group study sessions of up to 8, because that's good for a study session, but small meetings. Just saying small meetings, and then, because they have to put on the application for me, how many people will be at your meeting?
Right.
And then I can say, okay, there's 12, and then I can have a conversation with them. Do you want to use our small meeting room, or do you want to use our large meeting
There you
room,
go.
since you have 12 people, and then they can see both rooms and make a decision.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim, did you have something to add?
I was just going to mention that a year from now, we can come back and revisit this perhaps, and you can get some feedback by like saying, everybody wants to bring 12 people. Do you want to just change the number to 12? We can kind of discuss it then, because we don't know what they're going to do.
Yes, that's a really good point, that we can adapt it, bump it up if we find that it's working well for those groups and that's who's wanting to use the room.
Well, I think it'll be good information too for us to be able to keep track of on a detailed basis, Jandy, for when people are checking it out, because we'll know with the new library what we're going to be needing to support
Yes.
the needs of the community.
Yes, so,
Right.
yes, we do keep all of these statistics, so we'll
Okay.
know who's been using the room and, you know, how many small meeting rooms how many study rooms we feel like we need and how many people we feel like they need to accommodate.
Perfect.
So I guess we have really good timing with putting this room in now, because we can kind of try it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. But Jandy, do you need us to do an approval for you or?
So I have two other things I wanted to point out. So I'm saying Zoom interviews, and then if you notice, I have dash online interviews. I just didn't know if I should call it Zoom interviews, because I mean, people use Teams and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't list a specific, I would just say online
Interviews.
interviews.
Okay.
You know.
Online interviews. Okay, so I'll make it small meetings, online interviews. And then I have, if there are no reservations, the room is available for use without a reservation. This is not the case for the meeting room, but this is the case for the study room. Like I said before, I want it to be available for the public to use, just walk in and use if nobody's using it. I don't want it to go unused because somebody didn't make a reservation. So it's kind of like reservations will get first priority. We write it on the board first thing in the morning that there's a reservation at say 11 a.m. But then for the rest of the day, people can just walk in and use the room. So, especially since we have really good access to power for laptops in that room.
Yeah.
So let me see. The other thing I added is just what's available in the room under meeting room accommodation. Let's see, the study room is available during open hours. The meeting room can be available after hours. We don't have that capability in the study room since it's in the center of the library. So the study room is only available during open hours. The study room can accommodate up to 8 people and is equipped with table, chairs, television, with HDMI cord, laptop stand, Wi-Fi access, and a whiteboard. A laptop computer can be provided for use with prior arrangements.
Do we want to say can accommodate 8 to 12 people depending on
Yes,
setup?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yes,
That's good.
yes, accommodate. Okay, so add 8 to 12 people.
Well, I think we should change that to, and a very cool whiteboard.
I am super proud of my whiteboard. I know I'm so proud. I'm like super proud. It's not like your stereotypical school whiteboard. It's made of glass and it looks really beautiful.
Oh,
I like my accent for the room.
We have a glass whiteboard.
Yes.
The house, that's so nice.
It just looks really pretty. Yeah, that'll be on my ask list in the new building. Glass whiteboard, glass whiteboard, glass whiteboard, everywhere.
Would you consider marketing the meeting room use to maybe like, what if there's a quilting club that wants to use it on Tuesdays for 3 hours or something in Liberty Lake? Would you say?
We do have a group that's almost exactly that. It's
Oh.
the Digital Arts Society, and they meet on Saturdays from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 in the meeting room.
Oh,
every-
okay.
So-
I didn't know that.
Yes, but we've had lots of community groups use the room, like Toastmasters, using it on a regular basis. Al-Anon uses it on Mondays. So we do have consistent community groups that reserve the room.
That's an interesting statistic that I was not aware of, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say, just to show the utilization of our meeting room. So if that might be something to track. I'm a numbers guy, everybody, I'm sorry. But,
We do have it on the bottom. The very last statistic is the
Okay.
meeting room. It's just
Okay.
last month was kind of small with only 2.
okay. Well, I
But
think
generally it's a lot larger.
I think that's a huge deal. If we use our meeting room 75% of the month, that's huge, right? And that's,
Mhm.
I don't know if you use it by days or hours. I'd probably go days just to make it look like it's being utilized more, but
Yeah, we do for each reservation.
okay, that's cool.
But now that you're saying that, I haven't been tracking that it's the Al-Anon is using it every week and that the Needle Arts Society is using it every week. I was using it for the other reservations, but
I
those
would
count.
use it. I would track it all at this point.
That's been a little skewed.
Do you get attendance numbers at those meetings?
We don't get attendance
Oh, yeah.
for people. We just get that the room was reserved.
Okay,
Um,
because that's a number of people walking through the library that's traffic, so that might be a helpful.
Oh, that'll be tracked. Yeah, good point.
Unless they're going in the back door because it's off hours.
we occasionally do get people that go in through the back door, or sometimes for privacy with certain meetings,
Right.
the presenter knows that they can let people in
Yeah.
the back door. So
That's
some
fine.
people like that.
Yeah,
Anonymity
but
with it.
just saying, there's, these many groups have reserved that room.
Right, or they can
That's
self-report
fine.
numbers to you anonymously, like we had.
Mhm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just for data purposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just an idea.
So yeah, I will definitely much more closely start tracking that,
Thank you.
than I have been. Sorry, I'm just gonna add that to my list.
Okay, do we need to have a revised edition for the next meeting? Do we have to wait that long to approve, or can we just approve with it?
I wanted
Correct.
to make the updates and post this with the agenda so that the public has the updated copy,
Okay.
and that we will have this next meeting on the agenda as an action item to approve the updated policy. So then you guys will have all the new edits, the public will have all the edits, and everything's ready to go.
Good, thank
I
you.
have questions regarding this policy, if I can.
Yeah.
Has our attorney seen it? Is there anything we're not doing right?
I believe I sent it through to Sean to approve. I'm gonna have to double check that.
Okay.
I know I did with the collection development, so I'm assuming maybe I do have him look through it too as well.
You mentioned a form in the beginning of this document. Where does the form go to?
So it's a form on the website. Did you guys want to see it?
I didn't see
It's
it.
sent to me.
It goes to you, but what if you're on vacation? Is somebody checking that?
Yes, so it goes to me and it goes to our circulation supervisor as well.
Okay.
So if, when I'm out of town, it goes to her and it asks, what their name is, what their organization is, how many people are gonna use the room, what are they wanting to use the room for? Do they need, tables, chairs, laptop, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then they provide all of their contact information, and then I can go through and take a look and see if the room is available. And then I give them a call and get everything ready to go.
Another question I had is, what's our policy gonna be around? I mean, I hate mentioning this but I want to make sure we look at all these avenues. What if like the KKK wants to rent this every month or every week? Would you have any restrictions on the groups, or how do we get around that? To have no radical groups using this thing on city property?
At this point, it's one of those things where it's equal access to everyone. It has been in the news recently with the Seattle Public Library.
Sorry?
So meeting rooms, we have to give equal access to everyone. So there has been some news lately circulating about the Seattle Public Library. I can't remember what group it was, but there was a group that wanted to use the room. That some people didn't feel should be able to use the room, and they were allowed to use the room. And so there was some media attention around that.
I just want to be ready for that kind of stuff, in case.
Yeah.
Not that we have a lot of radical groups running around at Liberty Lake, but it could happen. And that brings me to the next question, is that the person making the reservation, do they have to be a citizen of Liberty Lake and hold an active library card?
No.
Should there be some discussion around that to give priority to Liberty Lake residents?
So I kind of take it as that's how we have it. Because we have library and city sponsored activities, library board of trustees, friends of the library activities, and then we have Liberty Lake community serving organizations.
Right.
To me, that reads as all Liberty Lake people are given the highest priority
Yeah.
for the room. But I mean, it says organizations, maybe not individuals. But it's one of those things I know where, at the park, people from Liberty Lake can request to, use the pavilion at Orchard Park, but also,
Right.
well, who
point.
don't live in Liberty Lake can as well. It's just, is the room, is it available? And if there's I don't know if there's a small fee or not, but.
Is there any restriction on like refreshments? Like if I'm gonna have a board meeting, can I bring in beer and wine?
Let's see, I know there's something about food and drink.
Well, we have to provide it, but is there a restriction? I'm just curious, 'cause I don't want to have to deal with this. I hate to have you guys have to deal with something like this without a policy there. Maybe I'm asking dumb questions, but that's just what I'm doing.
Let's see, so I have food and garbage must be removed unless other arrangements are approved prior to the use of the room. Let's see. I know it says in our application that they can't like cook food in the library. We do have a stove, but that's meant for staff use and not people who are renting the room use.
I'm just wondering if you can serve beer and wine on a city facility. I just don't even know.
There's municipal. What about that?
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm just gonna look up our
Mark, do you know if there's
application.
any municipal code on that?
Not off the top of my head, that deals specifically with the library. We
We'll just
can do some research and.
I know that alcohol is not permitted in the public spaces of the library. So to me, it kind of reads as that it would apply to the meeting room as well.
I like that position. I think that's
Yeah.
perfect.
So I can't remember if it's on the actual application. And it's just maybe not in the actual.
I don't know, all right, just want to make sure we don't have any troublemakers that want to use the library and they make us
Yeah.
look dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, if people bring alcohol into the library, they are trespassed from the library for a certain period of time.
This looks great. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to have that meeting room. You might be hearing from me here soon for the Kiwanis. We'll see.
That sounds great. So
We
yeah.
don't drink wine at 6 a.m. either. We don't.
So the primary purpose of a meeting in the library can't be social. Examples include birthdays, office, and retirement parties, weddings, and receptions.
Okay.
I think that raises a lot of meetings that have a lot of food and drink.
Probably.
It says that those are not allowed.
Okay, that's cool.
I think you probably have it covered.
Yeah.
That pretty much takes care of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and then it says lower food and beverage is, small food and beverages are allowed, but alcohol is not allowed.
Yeah, so,
So,
got it. We're good.
okay. Yes.
All right. Any other comments about the meeting room policy? All right. All right, so we're on to trustee bylaws. I put that on there because, I don't know if any of you have had an opportunity or have ever looked at the bylaws. But, there is a section of the bylaws that talks about officers. And, the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of us have been, in roles a lot longer than the bylaws state. So the bylaws state that there are positions that will rotate quarterly, which means president for 4 months, council representative for 4 months, Friends of the Liberty Lake liaison 4 months, and then rotating. As you know, I've been sitting here for quite a few months. That was by default back in October. And we've just had a lot of things that have been moving along and getting new people on board. But I'm wondering how you guys, we don't have to live by the bylaws because we can change them. But I guess I'm asking for feedback on this particular bylaw. How would you guys like to address it? Because we have not been in compliance with it for almost a year now. Because Tim has been our council member liaison for over a year. And I've been in this role for a year now. And Teresa hasn't reached her 4 months yet, but she's almost there. How would you guys like to address that?
I think 4 months seems really fast.
Yeah.
I think in 4 months, like even to get the rhythm of going to the council meetings and figuring out what all the goings on there, or the role that the president plays. My little Friends of the Liberty Lake Library is easy to do compared to what you do and compared to what the understanding that have to go into the community council meetings. I think 4 months is too short of a time period.
Most
Great.
office, especially with a 5-year tenure, would do a 1 to 2 year in each position. That's standard.
Okay, so, would you, should we look at this and then, the next meeting and come up with a resolution to change the bylaw? And what would be the recommendation for each one of these things? What would be the duration for the recommendation for duration of time in each one of these positions?
Well, we could do it as a, you can do it as a default, the positions, each position will be held as, a 2-year position by default, unless the board determines, the votes otherwise.
Votes otherwise, or a resignation occurs?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So I with a 5-year tenure on the board, I think a 2-year, you don't serve in every position. I don't think you need to, but I know a lot of people, especially in like your position now, leading, not everybody wants to be the chair running the meeting. If you did it where everybody has to rotate through every position, I think that would make some people uncomfortable. I could be wrong. But that's just my opinion. I think it definitely needs to be at a minimum of 1 year though.
Well, I'm in agreement with all of you in that I think 4 months is too short, and I think there needs to be continuity in things and commit to help things. Because there are certain things that happen that if you that if there's a switch or a change, there's chances for things to get discombobulated.
Yeah.
to use that word, but
It takes a year. Like if you were friends of, the liaison to Friends of Liberty Lake Library, they have a calendar year and they do a lot of the book sales and the other things. It takes you a year to just acclimate to everything that happens, and then the next year you can actually, oh, well, last year this happened, and, you know, maybe we want to consider this, or, you know, you just you can participate a little more.
Sean, I'm gonna ask, Tim, are you okay with us rewriting this section of the bylaws?
I am absolutely in favor of that. I'm just curious, though. Do we get to change our own bylaws? Does the city council have to approve it, or how's that work?
That's the part I don't know, so that's one of the things where I'm like, can we report back after next meeting?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I don't know if we can just whip out a bunch of changes and let them say, okay, it's now rules.
Right. I'm pretty sure we can be in control of that, but, Sean, I was gonna ask you if you wouldn't mind, checking on that, and then if it is possible, just bring us next meeting, a rewritten section for that, that'd be great. All right.
I think we also, Brad, I think we need to recognize that we all have terms also. And that just because it may be a 2-year term for someone, we're only appointed for a certain period of time, right? And there's not like, there's not a lot of people that are jumping up to take our positions. So don't get me wrong.
That's true.
You know, it's kind of like, but you know, if you're up in next year and you start a 2-year term, and we got to think about how we're going to get around that, or whether that we just go ahead and say you are automatically already on, or whether we can do that. I don't even. Let's take someone smart like Mark to tell us how that stuff gets done, being the city guy.
Well, I think how it's written is that we are on a 5-year term, but we can up for 5 years more. We have our limit is two consecutive 5-year terms. That's our limit.
Okay.
So
if you're on your ninth year in your second consecutive term, you can't be a 2-year president.
you can't be a 2-year president. No,
Right.
You could be a 1-year president, and the board could recognize that and know that. And then,
Well, that's something we should talk about. If we want to recognize someone to be 1-year president, then you can go ahead and break that rule then.
Yes, I liked the verbiage that Shauna was suggesting where it's like it's a default of 2 years unless voted otherwise.
I agree with it. I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could vote to have someone just do it 1 year because it's their last year.
okay.
And I've got a copy of the bylaws, so the bylaws will state how they can be amended, who needs to vote on it, all of that.
Okay.
I've rewritten bylaws for a number of nonprofits, so.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty familiar with bylaws, I just couldn't state without looking at them again.
So you have this booklet?
Yeah, you
Okay.
gave me the.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so the bylaws are.
Yeah,
Great.
do we know if anybody has a Word version of it?
I have a Word version of the original version. This binder was made by Pat Luxembourg while I was on maternity leave, so I think there might be some stuff in there that she added that I might not have a copy of. I need to look through it really in
Yeah.
depth, but I do have a Word version. It just
This-
might not
this
have
one
every
was
single thing that the
updated.
binders have.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I apologize. This one was updated in April 2015. So I don't know what your Word document and what its date was. But the one I have was updated in 2015.
Well, I can compare the two. If you can send me the Word
Yes,
version, I can also scan these pages and convert it with OCR to readable text or
That's
computer.
cool.
And then convert that to Word and then run a comparative.
Super.
That's
Thank
super
you,
cool.
Donna.
I'm so lost.
Do
No,
we need to
thank
go
you.
through that notebook and maybe update it?
Well, that was gonna be another one of my comments, that we probably need to, all take we need to go through probably more than just this one section of the bylaws.
Yeah.
And,
I'll do.
and
a
if
full
you would
review.
want to do the whole review of that and present it to us, that would be super if you had time to do that. Okay, thank you. That'd be great. So that'd be one section we could deal with, and then we could deal with some other sections along the way.
I'd be in favor of doing it all electronically. I don't necessarily know that we need a 3-ring binder anymore, but that's just me trying to act young and cool. I'd rather have it all electronic.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit on that one, Tim. I like paper. I like having, just like this, I like being able to instead of having to thumb through my phone or I bring a computer, I like to be able to
I
highlight.
like to be able to search.
Yeah. You like to search on the computer?
I do too. Yeah.
Oh my God, electronically, because I can search and find anything in a split second versus flipping through.
Yeah,
pages.
no, I get it. I get it. I'm just old school. I like that.
But you can do both.
Yeah.
I like both,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or else I just end up with sticky notes all over my.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah, you know what it's supposed to, I've got my stick on, I knew where to go to in the bylaws. I brought it up.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll review the whole bylaw and see if there's anything else we're not in
we need to
compliance
review.
with, or we need to review and,
Okay.
and look at and make some recommendations.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you very much for being willing to take that on, that's great. Okay, so the last thing on our agenda is the DG letter. So, Jandy, you said you had some comments to that, and I heard you use the word about some misinformation in the letter that was presented. So if you would like to address that, I'd appreciate it.
So this is the context I can offer. So we have this message from an individual, I'm not sure who it was. They say in the letter, the Liberty Lake Library has apparently chosen to separate itself from the other Spokane area libraries in favor of a network predominantly Idaho organizations. Let's see, Liberty Lake owes its allegiance first to the state of Washington, then the county of Spokane. So the context I can offer is that when the city was incorporated in 2001, they knew they wanted a library. They approached the Spokane County Library District. The library district is not involved with Liberty Lake, and they said, hey, we want a library. And the county said, I'm sorry, we have a branch in Otis Orchard. We aren't planning to put a branch in Liberty Lake. The mayor and the city said, well, we want the library, so I guess we will form our own City of Liberty Lake library. So we formed our own library of Liberty Lake. It started in somebody's basement and then has grown now to our current building, which is 9,000 square feet. For the first 11 years, we were our own city library with only the books in our very own library, and that was it. In 2012, we joined the Cooperative Information Network of Idaho. With them, we share our books. And so that gives the citizens of Liberty Lake, instead of the 20,000 books that are on our shelves, gives us all of the books on everyone else's shelves. It's in the hundreds of thousands of books. So we share books with the libraries. We have a courier system where, the courier drives the books to the other libraries. With our new library building, we aren't separating from the county. We've never been a part of the county. That opportunity wasn't ever offered to us. Having been a library worker at other city libraries who just have their own books on the shelves, I love the difference that we have in Liberty Lake because it gives everyone access to way more resources than they would have originally. As a children's librarian, it was really disheartening to have a kid come into the library. It's summer, they're so excited to do their summer reading, and they're like, I want to read Harry Potter this summer. And you look on the computer and there's 12 kids on hold for Harry Potter. And it's like, well, you can read Harry Potter in 1 year. Because that's how long it's going to take the book to get to you. So this is, I think it's a great opportunity that we've been able to share our books with people in Idaho. But yeah, we haven't separated from the county. We haven't separated from the Spokane Library District. We were never a part of those library districts. And
I have a question. My question is, being a municipal library, there's no way we could actually align ourselves with the county system. Is that correct? I'm just assuming, having gone over, looking at the things at the Washington state level, being a municipal library kind of separates us from a county organization in the first place.
Yes.
I might be misunderstanding that.
yes, it's like, there's kind of like three categories of libraries. There's a single municipal library, which is us. There's the Spokane Public Library, which is a municipal library also, just within the city of Spokane. They have multiple branches of libraries. We just have, one branch in our population of 9,000. And then there's a library district, which is its own form of having a library. It's kind of like a county library district. So I think that one's kind of formed on the more of the county level.
And I'll say that being in the library industry, working with tons of libraries, these types of networks are common. They're extremely common, and some of them will use them for kind of a cooperative purchasing of that consortium or that network will purchase the library software that's used. And then each of the individuals that are members of that will pay. So it's a way for the software to be cheaper. It's
Yes.
a way for you to expand the number of resources your library has, because what Jamie was explaining is interlibrary loan. We have, my company has software that does interlibrary loan between even libraries that aren't part of the same cooperative. So this is really common. And even if you go to the Cooperative Information Network, it's a consortium of Idaho/Washington libraries.
Yeah,
It's not an Idaho consortium.
Right.
yes. I guess
So I think that needs to be first of all, I have a couple other comments. Number one, I have a little bit of problem with this letter because there's no name attached to it. We don't know if this person is a member of our community or not. We don't know if they've come from outside our community or if they're a Liberty Lake citizen. So that's something I have a little bit of an issue with. And I also have an issue with, I think there's some overtones there that I don't appreciate in the letter. But having said that, I mean, this person did send a letter to a particular person in our
On our library, yeah, friends of the
in
library.
our friends of the library. So I think if we could provide that person with some
I don't know how, okay. The Friends of the Liberty Lake Library, that's who this was sent to.
Right.
We get funds from them, but they're not associated with us, or was it also sent?
Was sent to one person who's in Friends of the Library, correct?
I guess I don't view it as a formal complaint.
Not a
It
complaint.
it was sent to one person that they wanted some answers, to get some answers from, and that was DG.
Yeah,
And it wasn't sent to the board.
no.
So
And-
I guess the question is it, do we address it?
No,
No.
and this is why, because it was DG forwarded it to a couple people on the board. The response is, thank you for the email. If this person would like to take up a complaint with the library, they can contact either the library director or the library board of trustees at these emails. You don't need to address
Agreed.
any of the complaints.
I
You
agree.
say, if
I
they want
agree.
to have an issue and they want to take it up with us, they can. Here's how to contact us.
And they could also tune into the meeting because this meeting is recorded and they could hear our discussion regarding it.
Right.
But yes,
I
we
agree.
require something to be a formal complaint, that it's given to the board or it's given to the library director and it has a name and address. So that we're aware if they're a patron or not of the community. I guess the only other thing I would add, just from the message that I forgot to mention before, is it says that we don't have access to anything from the state of Washington. And as a state of Washington library, we do have every access that any of the other libraries in the state have to any of the online resources, to any of the grants, to any of the trainings, everything that the state library offers in Washington, we offer to us.
Sean, I have a favor to ask. Could you email me a response?
Yeah.
And then I will send that response to DG and she can forward that to the person who, she obviously must know the person somehow, and have her send that response. to her. Thank
Just,
you.
I want to do a little back test real quick. Can I ask a quick question for Jandy? Jandy, is Spokane Municipal Library part of Spokane County Library?
Spokane Public Municipal Library? No,
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I didn't think
It's
so
just
either.
like.
That's the definition. So,
Or public library, and then there's King County.
Right.
It's confusing because it's Spokane City and Spokane County,
Yeah,
whereas you look at Seattle, they've got Seattle Public Library and King County Library.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that that explanation is perfect and that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, just as a comment, I was just talking with someone this morning who didn't know that I was on the board of trustees. And she was talking about how awesome the Liberty Lake Library is, because not only do they have access to the books in the library, but they have access to these books that are part of the network. And so she orders books from everywhere in the network. So
Mhm.
it's ironic that this came up today. And then I said, thank you, I'm on the board of trustees, I'll share that information.
Yeah, now this
Great,
isn't,
thank you.
yeah, I don't think we need to treat this as a complaint until it's an official complaint. So I'll send you.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. And that would helps me out a lot in knowing how to address it. It's going, darn it. So, great, thank you. All right. Are there any other comments or anything else that we need to address?
No, I think that's everything.
All right. Is there anything in particular that we need to make sure we have on our agenda for next time? We have the bylaw update that'll be on our agenda for next time. Anything else? Maybe a report about our report.
Oh, and we'll
Yeah.
have the action item to approve our meeting room policy.
Action item for meeting room.
Will you have the budget done by then? Is there anything to talk about with that or? do you need to
That's a
review
good
that again?
question.
The budget has been submitted. The mayor, published her mayor budget October 4th. So I guess our next meeting is November 9th. I can give her reports if I've gone over my budget with the council. It's just last year I didn't go over my budget till November 30th. So I don't know if they'll have gotten to the library in the budget questions yet or not.
Question for Mark. Mark, when is the final approval by the city council for the yearly budget? When does that take place?
We're shooting for the first December council meeting for that adoption to occur.
So that's December 6th.
Yes. So that gives us, if something goes swirly, the opportunity to still get it adopted by statute within the given time prior to the beginning of the fiscal year, but we're shooting for that December 16th.
Okay, thank you.
And then the meeting on the 18th, it's the 7 p.m. city council, not the workshop meeting.
Yes, yes.
Woo-hoo. Okay, anything else? All right, well then I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you. I can't say enough about how much I appreciate everybody, that in all the input that we get and that we have a stable board. right
Yes,
now.
we have a very-
that is fantastic.
Yes,
I like
last year
it.
was rough, so it's
like to
wonderful to have a stable board and an active board. You guys are all very active participants, which is wonderful.
I'd like to congratulate Mark on making it for his first library trustee meeting.
Thanks, Ben.
And I'm gonna say this again, Danny, I appreciate the information you bring every week to us. It's fantastic out the statistics and the use of the library. I think that's important for us to hear, but I think it's more important for the public to hear if they ever decide to lean into our meetings or review them online. I think that's great. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.